You ever feel like the world's economic and social challenges are just getting, well, more complex, and the traditional solutions often feel like they're just patching holes, not really building a new boat?
Yeah, it can definitely feel that way, like we're stuck sometimes.
Exactly. So what if there was a fresh, comprehensive framework, one designed not just by human insight, but actually co-created with cutting-edge artificial intelligence?
Okay, now that's intriguing.
Right. Today, we're taking a deep dive into an extraordinary, integrated economic and governance framework, Creative Currency Octaves, or CCO. And it comes with these complementary pillars: public trust housing, PTH, the Citizens Internet Portal, CIP, and social zone harmonization, SZH.
Wow, that's a lot of acronyms, but it sounds ambitious.
It is. Together, these concepts represent a bold vision for what the source material calls a compassionate meritocracy.
Okay, compassionate meritocracy. What's truly remarkable here, I think, isn't just the scope of these interconnected systems. I mean, they're designed to tackle persistent issues like poverty, housing instability, civic engagement,
The big ones.
the really big ones. But it's the unprecedented central role that artificial intelligence has apparently played in developing and refining this whole body of work.
That's the hook for me, too. So our mission in this deep dive is to unpack these mechanisms, try to understand their proposed solutions, and explore this unique human-AI co-creative process that brought them about.
Sounds like a fascinating exploration.
Get ready for maybe an aha moment or two as we explore how these ideas could dramatically shift our approach to wealth, community, human potential, really offering you a shortcut to being well-informed on a truly innovative economic discussion.
Good stuff.
And before we jump right in, just a quick note. We know some of these concepts are dense. Earlier deep dives that introduced some of the foundations are available for you on YouTube at author Duke Johnson.
Right, so you can catch up if needed.
Yeah.
And you can also join the public conversations, share your own thoughts on the subreddit Economic Ideas and on math forums in the economic section.
Yeah, definitely check those out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the foundation. Creative Currency Octaves, or CCO.
Right, CCO.
At its core, CCO introduces a dual currency system. So the U.S. dollar, it remains the primary currency. That ensures stability in the broader market, kind of a familiar anchor, right?
That makes it, you need that stability. But then you have these things called basic units.
Basic units, okay.
Yeah, these are a complementary currency pegged one-to-one to the dollar, and they're distributed universally as an opt-in basic income.
Opt-in.
Interesting. Right. Now, here's a key design element. They expire monthly.
Expire. So use it or lose it.
Essentially, yeah. It's to encourage circulation. And they're restricted to essential expenditures, housing, food, utilities, things like that.
Okay, so you can't just hoard them.
Yeah.
And they're only for necessities.
Exactly. The aim, as the source describes it, is to provide basic welfare without creating dependency, and also, importantly, controlling inflation by kind of isolating that new demand pressure to just essential sectors.
Okay. So basic needs covered. But for a society to really thrive, it's about more than just subsistence, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Which leads us to creator collectives. What are these?
Okay. Creator collectives. These are described as voluntary communities. Innovators, participants, people who create something productive and share it in a positive way.
Voluntary communities. But what's their function in the CCO system? How do they connect to that expiring currency?
This is the clever part, according to the design. Creator collectives are where individuals can convert their expired basic units into the primary currency into dollars.
Oh, so they don't just vanish into thin air if you don't spend them on groceries.
Not necessarily. They have this potential second life. It creates a strong incentive to contribute something of value back to the community or the collective.
So like a community marketplace for effort and value.
Kind of, yeah. Think of it like that. Your efforts, whether it's building an open source tool, teaching a skill, maybe organizing a local event, they get recognized and rewarded. It allows you to remonetize those basic units that would have otherwise expired.
That sounds like a really powerful incentive to engage. But what stops these collectives from becoming, little fiefdoms
Exclusive.
or biased towards certain kinds of contributions? How do you make sure productive and positive are defined fairly?
That's a really critical question, and the framework seems to acknowledge it. It emphasizes democratic governance within these collectives. The criteria for what counts as a contribution aren't meant to be top-down.
Okay.
They're supposed to be defined and iterated by the members themselves, often using the Citizens Internet portal, which we'll get to.
Hmm?
The goal is explicitly to reward diverse forms of value creation, not just traditional widgets and profits.
Right, not just standard economic output.
Exactly. And this leads us straight into the merit-based engine of CCO. It's got two parts: octave levels and personal multiplier rates. They try to balance broad access with recognizing high-impact stuff.
Okay, octave levels, let's start there. As I understand it, these are about volume, like conversion limits based on volume.
That's right, volume-based limits.
And with each advancement in an octave level, the maximum volume of basic units someone can convert actually doubles.
Yeah.
So like from 1,000 units a month to 2,000, then 4,000, maybe 8,000.
Correct. It scales exponentially.
How does someone advance, and what's the thinking behind that doubling? Seems steep.
Advancement is based on a mix of factors. A holistic assessment, they call it. Things like the scope and impact of your project or contribution, market forces within that collective,
Okay.
cost savings generated, how essential the value is, consistency, leadership qualities. The doubling provides this clear, exponential reward for sustained, impactful engagement. It encourages people to scale up their contributions if they can and want to. It's meant to directly reflect the increasing value someone provides.
And then, on top of the volume limit, there are these personal multiplier rates.
Yep, that's the other leg.
And these determine the value of the conversion itself, ranging from a standard 1x, $1 per expired unit, up to an exceptional 14x or even more.
That's the idea. So one expired basic unit could potentially convert into $14 or more in primary currency if the contribution is deemed exceptional.
Wow. And the criteria listed are productivity, efficiency, creativity, quality, and then this one, beauty. How on earth do you objectively measure beauty in an economic system? Isn't that incredibly subjective?
It is subjective, and the framework tackles this head-on. This is where that compassionate meritocracy idea really comes into play. Beauty isn't just like, is it pretty?
Right.
It's considered more broadly elegance in design, originality, profound positive emotional or cultural impact. There's even a specific phi rate based on the golden ratio, around 1.618x.
The golden ratio.
Total
Seriously. It can be applied for contributions deemed exquisite and beautiful. Now, to address the subjectivity, the assessment is meant to be peer-reviewed within the collectives, often using community voting tools and a transparent audit trail through that CIP portal we mentioned.
So community votes on beauty. In a sense, yes, but within structured guidelines. The underlying philosophy is that truly exceptional, enriching contributions, especially in arts, culture, innovation, things that lift the human spirit should be recognized for their societal value, even if it's hard to quantify in traditional terms.
So this dual-tier system, octave for volume, multiplier for quality and impact, including beauty, it rewards both the everyday essential stuff and the really high-quality, innovative, or culturally significant work.
That's the goal. It tries to value both providing essential services consistently and pushing boundaries with creative or beautiful contributions.
Okay, so if I'm getting this right, it's not just a safety net. It's fundamentally trying to reshape how we value different kinds of human activity, from basic services right up to, well, beautiful art or elegant code.
Exactly, expanding what we consider economic value and trying to incentivize a much broader spectrum of human potential.
Okay, so with CCO laying the groundwork, the next big piece is housing, a huge issue, public trust housing or PTH.
Right.
This isn't about replacing the private market, the sources say, but complementing it. A collective housing option where your payments build shared assets, aiming to cut housing costs by like 40–70%. That's a massive claim.
It is a huge claim. And a really fascinating concept introduced here is something called acre equity.
Acre equity,
Yeah.
what's that?
It's described as a novel, non-monetary communal stake. You accumulate it through community participation, being a responsible resident. It basically transforms rent into active, invested participation in a shared asset. Gives you stable, transferable benefits.
Non-monetary equity. Acre equity, that's a striking term. How does that actually work? What benefits does it give you? Is it like social credit or voting rights? Or where did that term even come from?
It's a great question, and this is actually a prime example of the AI's creative input. Apparently, Google's NotebookLM AI came up with the term acre equity while analyzing the PTH concept.
Wow, the AI named it.
Seems so. In practice, acre equity is multifaceted. It can give you voting rights in the housing co-op, a direct say in management. It could also provide transferable credits for other community resources, or even be a kind of legacy transferable within the PTH system.
Hmm.
It's all about incentivizing long-term stewardship and engagement, not just paying rent.
That's a really interesting blend of tech idea generation and community building. Okay, so CCO covers basic needs, PTH offers housing stability. How do people actually participate and shape things? That must be the Citizens Internet Portal, CIP.
Precisely. CIP is the tech backbone, the infrastructure for direct democratic participation.
What does it do?
It's envisioned as a pretty robust digital platform. User dashboards to manage your basic units, democratic voting tools for local policy, resource allocation.
Voting on local policy directly.
That's the idea. Also, a business directory with ratings, managing your creator profile for the collectives, tracking cultural patronage. It's meant to be a central hub.
Sounds comprehensive. But what about the AI's role here? Making democratic features fair and functional is tough. How does AI help without introducing its own biases or just making it too complicated?
Good point. AI is central, but positioned as an assistant, not the boss. So, for example, CIP uses AI for automated impact assessment on policy proposals,
Meaning?
meaning it helps you, the citizen, quickly grasp the likely real-world effects of a policy, cutting through jargon. It also uses AI for skill-based matching, connecting people for local projects based on skills and location, and resource optimization algorithms for fairness.
Okay, so AI helps analyze and connect, not decide.
That's the principle. And it's all underpinned by some serious security. Biometric ID, multi-factor authentication, end-to-end encryption, zero-knowledge architecture, and AI constantly looking for fraud or anomalies. The goal is efficient, transparent, secure, direct democracy.
And the last pillar, social zone harmonization, SZH. What's that about?
SCH is maybe the most socially ambitious part. It allows communities to democratically organize into specialized zones based on shared values or lifestyle preferences.
Zones based on values? Like what?
Examples given are things like family-focused zones, innovation and creative zones, wellness and recovery zones, maybe traditional community zones. They even mention extremes like kids-safe purple zones or adult-only red light districts.
Wow, okay.
The idea is choice-driven community design, reduce social friction by letting people choose to live among others with broadly compatible preferences rather than forcing everyone into one mold. More harmony through choice.
That is
No,
ambitious. And it brings us right back to what's so unique here, the AI partnership.
Absolutely.
Several foundational academic papers on all this CCO, PTH, the whole integrated framework papers like community-based monetary innovation for development, optimal transfer design, integrated digital governance. They're explicitly co-authored by Duke Johnson and Anthropic's Claude AI.
Yeah, that's stated right in the source material, co-authored by human and AI.
What does that even mean for research when AI isn't just a tool, but a co-author on this scale?
It's potentially a huge shift. Duke Johnson himself sounds pretty amazed by it. There's a quote here. The latest version of this working paper is so well crafted by Claude AI, I'm truly amazed at what Sonnet 4 is accomplishing. As far as I know, it has only been Claude AI, myself, and some spirits working on these academic papers. Very impressive.
And some spirits.
Okay.
But the core point is AI did heavy lifting.
Seems like it, more than just editing or summarizing. We're talking concept generation, structuring arguments, refining language, a real intellectual contribution.
And it wasn't just Claude. AI seems to have actively generated new concepts too.
Yeah.
We mentioned Google's NotebookLM coining acre equity.
Right.
But Microsoft's AI Copilot apparently generated several others. Things like temporal value layering, TVL for long-term impact, emotional labor credits, ELCs for caregiving.
Concepts that try to capture value often overlooked.
Exactly. It shows AI maybe spotting gaps or suggesting novel solutions that a human designer might miss initially.
And what's neat is Johnson's commentary on those co-pilot ideas, calling them very Bill Gates-esque, suggesting tweaks like library instead of vault for a cultural commons vault. It shows a real back and forth. AI proposes, human refines, directs, a partnership.
A true collaboration. And other AIs were involved too.
Yeah, the sources mentioned Grok AI from X.com providing a visionary approach summary. ChatGPT was asked to draft Wikipedia text for CCO. Gemini AI was used for comparative analysis, like comparing CCO to a gold standard.
So AI wasn't just writing, it was summarizing, analyzing, comparing, structuring, contributing across the board. It
Yeah.
makes this body of work pretty unique in its development process.
Absolutely. It's a case study in human AI co-creation applied to complex societal design.
So with all these intricate parts and this deep AI involvement,
Mm.
what's the potential impact? What could this actually do? The core intention mentioned is making extreme poverty obsolete. That's huge,
Yeah.
overnight, ideally, or within 60 days, realistically.
It's an incredibly audacious goal. The mechanism is the universal basic units covering essentials immediately upon opt-in. Then the creator collectives provide the path to earn primary currency, keeping money flowing and incentivizing contribution. This foundational security is designed to undercut the root causes of poverty-driven crime, stress, inequality.
It also makes some staggering claims about drug policy reform. A net benefit of nearly $6 trillion for the USA over 25 years, preventing 2.8 million premature deaths, creating 1.2 million legal jobs, generating billions in tax revenue.
Those are the projections detailed in the Drug Policy Reform and Integrated Economic Governance paper. Yes, again, we're reporting on the claims here.
Of course. But the idea is shifting drugs from crime to public health, like Portugal did, and integrating regulated markets into CCO.
That seems to be the core argument. Providing economic security reduces drivers for illicit markets, while regulation brings activity into the open, generating revenue for public health instead of costing billions in enforcement. It directly tackles historical hurdles by changing the underlying economic conditions.
And beyond poverty and drug policy, CCO is also meant to reward local knowledge, cultural development, provide capital without traditional collateral, formalize the informal economy.
That's a key aspect. Rewarding valuable activities that currently fall outside the formal market, giving people access to capital based on their contributions within the CCO system, not just their existing assets.
And it's not just pie in the sky theory. There's apparently a compassionate meritocracy implementation 3-month plan for the USA, aiming for a Thanksgiving launch, targeting 156 million citizens, 200,000 businesses. That shows some serious thought about practical rollout.
It suggests they've considered the logistics. And the source even gives examples of how businesses might integrate, like restaurants earning basic units based on seats and hours, with multipliers for quality, or grocery stores having daily limits based on size.
Specific examples helps make it more concrete.
It does. Shows how the dual currency could mesh with existing businesses.
Okay, but a system this complex, this ambitious, it can't be without challenges or risks, right? What are the big hurdles or critical questions?
Absolutely. The source material itself seems to acknowledge the complexity. Cultural sensitivity is huge. How do you implement this without unintentionally commodifying traditions or creating conflict between individual advancement, like climbing octave levels, and community values?
That's tricky.
Very. Economically, there are questions about long-term sustainability. Can everyone successfully transition from basic unit reliance to earning enough primary currency? Is the system vulnerable to manipulation, or could large corporations find ways to capture the creator collectives?
The usual concerns with big systems. And what about governance? Preventing elite capture within these collectives or zones, ensuring the AI algorithms for resource allocation are fair and transparent, not biased.
Critical points. The framework relies heavily on transparency, the open source nature of the CIP, community oversight, AI audit trails to combat these risks. Decentralization through the collectives and zones is also meant to diffuse power, but it would require constant vigilance, iteration, and strong democratic engagement. It's not a set-it-and-forget-it system.
No, definitely sounds like it needs active participation.
Which is kind of the point, I suppose.
So we've covered a lot of ground. This integrated framework, CCO, PTH, CIP, SCH, from dual currencies to collective housing, digital democracy, value-based zones.
And woven through it all, this remarkable story of deep collaboration between human ideas and multiple AI systems, bringing it all to this level of detail. It really is a testament to what that partnership might enable.
It really is, which leads to the big question, doesn't it? What does this all mean for our future? If AI can be a genuine co-creator in designing such complex solutions for societal problems, what does that unlock?
What new frontiers open up for human potential, for collaboration, in a world where technology isn't just a tool, but potentially an intellectual partner?
Could this kind of human-AI synergy actually be a key to tackling our biggest challenges, maybe even unlocking that golden age of collective human prosperity the source material hints at? What happens when we really lean into AI as a co-creator?
It's a provocative thought to end on, and we definitely encourage you to keep exploring these ideas. Remember, you can find earlier deep dives on the concepts on YouTube at author Duke Johnson.
And please do join the ongoing public conversations. Share your perspectives on the subreddit Economic Ideas and on math forums in the economics section. Let people know what you think.
Your input could be valuable.
Thank you for diving deep with us today into these ideas. They certainly challenge assumptions about money, markets, community, and maybe the future fabric of society itself.